got this thing that you talked about also, that the peculiar college system, which is also a way of insulating them from outside power, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the colleges were, as it were, fortresses within a fortress. You had the university, which had its charter and was very jealous of its separate power. And then within it, the colleges, each of which were largely independent of the university. So the government, even now, could say something to Cambridge University, and Cambridge could say yes, 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 if necessary. But what the colleges do is in another matter. I can't remember whether I told you, I think I may have explained this about King's College. Did I tell you the history of King's?
Yeah, but it's always worth hearing it again.
How it was set up. Did I explain how it was set up? Maybe not.
I've read it. I don't know whether you've actually talked about it. So,
well, this is an extreme example. But when Henry VI set up Cambridge University, King's College, in 1461, he wanted it to be as independent of everything, himself as well. So he went to the papacy and he got the Pope to give some papal bulls saying that King's College, Cambridge is nothing to do with me. We still have those. He then went to the church of the English ecclesiastical authorities and he said, I want you to give me some documents saying that King's College is nothing to do with the bishoprics of England. And so the Bishop of Lincoln and the Bishop of Ely have no jurisdiction over King's College. He then went to the city of Cambridge, and I got a document from the city of Cambridge saying King's College is not within the city of Cambridge. If you go into King's College, you have to get permission from the college and so on and so on. He even went to the university, the Vice Chancellor, and said, I want a document saying King's College has nothing to do with the University of Cambridge. And until 120 years ago, it was not part of the university in the sense that students going there didn't have to do university exams. They got their degrees, Cambridge degrees, but without doing university examination. They weren't subject to the statutes of the university. So this was a little oasis within an oasis. No other colleges are strongly guarded as that, but many of them do have
that's amazing, isn't it?
This independence. And at times, I mean, the threat of political intervention, there have been 2 times when Cambridge was nearly closed down. Once was Henry VIII, who decided that when he was closing the monasteries, he would look at whether to close the universities by taking away their funds. And he sent a commission to Cambridge to see whether all their funds should be taken away. Fortunately, his mother and other people had friends from Cambridge. Everyone was educated there and so on. And his advisors were from Cambridge. And they said, okay, that's fine, but how about putting X, Y, and Z on this commission? And they were all Cambridge people. And so when they reported back, they said, actually, this is a terribly poor university. It doesn't seem to have any funds at all, and so on. And he made some acerbic remark about, I can't see how they do so much with so little money, but he didn't do anything more about their funds. Again, in the Civil War, Cromwell thought that perhaps the colleges should be dismembered and their income should be distributed to other places in England and so on. And there were plans to do this, but it was never carried out. Blair, in the last example, Tony Blair, had the same or minor idea. He said, why are we giving special funds to Oxford and Cambridge? And what's this nonsense about a tutorial system and so on? It's too expensive. He was rung up by his old schoolmaster, who was a very famous educationist, who also was the headmaster of David Cameron. He was headmaster at Eton and Fettes and so on and so on and so on. And he rang up Tony and said, what are you doing? Lay off. penny laid off. So at any moment, you know, Gavin Williamson can pass a bill which can, because the universities are corporations, they are set up by the government, but the colleges are much more independent and trust-like, and it's possible that if the universities were...
Are there anywhere else that you've got that similar sort of
No,
setup?
absolutely not even in America. I mean, it's interesting that when the British universities were taken to America, I mean, John Harvard was from Cambridge and so on, they set up universities in the Cambridge-Oxford model. They didn't take the proper college system. They have sort of quasi-colleges in some American universities, and they still have vestiges of them in some Scottish universities, particularly St Andrews, but they aren't the places where the academics live and where you have a whole community. They are just partial sort of dormitories and things like that.
Fascinating.